Prayers are useless. They are a childish delusion. People who pray believe by falling on their knees and muttering to themselves they can cause some change in the world. These adults are often even educated people who can function in a day-to-day society quite effectively. But they believe that by muttering some words to an invisible being, they can affect the outcome of some circumstances. Suppose you're praying one afternoon, but suddenly the phone rings. If you wish to finish your prayer, you might tell the caller something like this. "I'm sorry, John, but I will have to call you back. At that moment I have a conversation with God, and I haven't quite finished what I have to ask him. I will give you a call when I'm done." Do you really dare to say this to a friend? I doubt. But this is the delusion under which people pray. They believe that they are talking with the God who they believe is the architect of the universe. When a person prays for a sick friend, he is trying to make contact with a being who people believe designed the universe. But what could be more arrogant than to believe that the creator of the universe is willing to hear your prayers and requests? Nothing puts humanity in its proper place like science. Science found out that the universe is about 13.7 billion years old. This small blue planet on which we live has been around for only about 4.5 billion years. Human beings, approaching modern forms, did not evolve until perhaps 200,000 years ago. So, on a cosmic scale, humanity has been existed for merely an instant. If there is a cosmic creator, we can be certain this creator is either unaware of or disinterested in humanity as a whole, much less in individual members of this species. Humanity is to the universe as a single grain of sand or the beach is to the earth. The entire human species could go extinct in a nuclear blast tomorrow, and the universe would not take the slightest notice or miss us. But the little human ego thinks that its pretty personal problems would interest the architect of the universe. How could that little man believe that such a creator would even be aware of his pious muttering and praise, let alone listen to it? Prayer is self-deception. When people feel powerless, when they feel like they cannot do anything to help themselves in a terrible situation, they grope desperately to hold on to that magical act that might help. Prayer is their refuge. Praying is of no use. It will not change any situation. There are people, when they hear about a catastrophic earthquake, instead of donating a substantial sum, they start praying for the victims. Does that help the victims? No. The same goes when a little girl is missing. The neighbors pray for a safe return home, but they do not take part in the search. Their prayers are of no use for help. The self-deception becomes even more apparent when one considers the degree to which people who believe in the power of prayer count the hits and ignore the strikes. But a person prays, and then the thing for which he prayed happens. He calls it a miracle. But when the prayers have not been fulfilled, there is no word for it. For example, there is a mine disaster. How many times did you hear the phrase, "Pray for our miners"? How many prayers were offered in earnest hope that their life would be preserved? If those miners are saved, people say, the power of our prayer has helped them to survive. But if the miners died, people would not say, "Oh, sorry, our prayers have failed to save them." For these people, answered prayers prove that prayer works. Unanswered prayers are just a tragic twist of fate. Only counting the hits and ignoring the strikes is dishonesty. Rise from your knees. Cease your mindless muttering to a God which does not exist, or at best does not care. There is learning to do, and there's knowledge to win. The black cloud of ignorance has not yet fully lifted, but we can strive for greater illumination when we use science as our candle in the dark.